A much-needed second win on the season for the New Orleans Pelicans as they beat the Charlotte Hornets 115-110. Coach, as we were watching those final minutes, we were talking about Brandon Ingram. I said he looks a lot more confident than he used to, and you said, well, because he's shooting as well as he is. He was 8 of 12 from the field and had 25 points in this one.
Yeah, look, and he's shooting the ball with great confidence, and Caron knows, like, when you're shooting the ball well and when you develop that skill as a young player, everything else falls into line because now people have to guard you differently and everything else. He's shooting it without hesitation. It's set up the entire rest of his game.
I think no pressure of expectations. You just have the opportunity to go out there with a long leash. Your margin of error isn't small. It's just, play your game. And I think that cloud of playing in Los Angeles has hovered over him for some time, but now he get a fresh start. He's playing extremely well.
But do you think there are no expectations? This was a team that a lot of people were talking about being in the Western Conference playoff picture. Of course, that changes with Zion Williamson out indefinitely, but he could also turn things around.
That's what you call sports energy, where, people feed off that momentum of the expectations of Zion Williamson and things like that, but it's going to be a process for him to be great. I know Coach broke down the game and understands it and look at it in different layers. This team was not going to be one of the top 8 teams in the Western Conference, and right now they stand at the bottom, and that was a quality win on the road for them. But, when you look at the team, look, just winning and having the young guys functionally playing well, that's a welcoming sign.
No, look, I agree, and it was only twice this year have they held people under 115 points, and that's their 2 wins. So there should be a lesson there for the New Orleans Pelicans, because I agree with Caron. This Charlotte team has been surprisingly competitive all year. This is a very good road win. Ingram and Redick were both tremendous offensively, but their defense was at least better. It was more competitive. That's what they need to build toward, waiting for Zion to come back.
I was in New Orleans for the Pelicans training camp. That was before Zion got hurt. And one of the things that Coach Gentry told me is that especially with a young and inexperienced team, defense has to be the first priority. He also, though, talked about the importance of a veteran like JJ Redick. And here he is after the game with Jen Hale.
JJ, congratulations. The first road win of the season for this team. How did this team finally get over the proverbial hump?
We kept fighting tonight. We've been in a lot of these games where it gets to the fourth quarter and it's a 1 or 2 possession game and we haven't figured out how to win. We made some stops there, came up with some big buckets, and it was really, other than B.I. going crazy there for a couple minutes, it was really good team basketball. Derek Favors made a great play out of pick and roll. On the roll, finds K-Rich in the corner for 3. We had a lot of those plays tonight, and we just stuck together.
You just mentioned most of your starting lineup, all 5 of you in double-digit scoring. Do you think you finally found a rotation that works?
Well, rotations are fluid in this league, and we're trying to find some sort of lineup that can give us a chance to win, whatever that may be. We're just searching right now.
What got you going tonight? New season high for you, back in the Carolinas.
It was the crowd. I've been coming here for 14 years. My first couple years, they booed me. They stopped booing me. And then tonight, for whatever reason, they started booing me again. So it got me going a little bit.
Well, we're going to ask everybody to boo you then.
Yeah.
You and Drew, the connection. What was his decision-making like tonight, and what did that contribute?
I thought Drew was phenomenal. He obviously has to be aggressive for us to be good offensively. I think he had some great passes, great finishes at the basket. He was Drew tonight.
Enjoy the win, JJ. Thanks for your time.
Oh, thanks.
Joel?
He is really smooth.
Coach, you laugh as JJ says they start booing him again, but he was one of the very important pieces on your team in Orlando, one of my favorite teams of all time back in 08, 09, back when I was an intern, when you and I met for the very first time. What, though, does his presence mean to a team at this point in his career?
Hey, listen, this guy's continued to get better. His best scoring year was last year. I mean, it seems like he gets better every year, like a young guy. Just the way he approaches everything, as veteran guys, I think that's the biggest lesson guys bring is how do you prepare for a game? How do you stay in shape? Get your rest. All of that stuff, you can talk about it as a coach. It doesn't mean as much as when a guy like JJ Redick is doing it, and you can see a guy in his mid-30s having success and seeing what leads to that. That's what teaches the young guys a lesson.
How important then, Caron, is it if you are one of those young guys to be able to have a guy like JJ Redick to look up to?
Look, it's everything. And even on the back end of my career, that's why I was able to sustain and have a little more, longevity to Coach Point. When you have a guy that really resembles and, embodies everything from a professional standpoint about being consistent, the professionalism, knocking down shots, showing that, that professionalism on a consistent basis, I think guys really absorb him. So he's going to be around for years to come. And I think his best years are still yet ahead of him going forward.
Well, it's a 5-game Saturday here in the NBA, and 3 of them are still in action. As we take a look now in Memphis, yes, it is a 10-point game yet again. I'll stop with the scoring updates because now these teams are scoring. 88-78 the score with just about 5 minutes to go in the third. We'll have more when we come back. 35 points, a season high for them as well. And their first win in San Antonio since March of 2011. That was not a typo, folks. It has actually been that long, but still a bit of a somber mood after the game as Coach Brad Stevens would address Gordon Hayward.
Broken hand, no timeline. You're going to get with the doctors tomorrow and decide if he needs to do surgery or not. It sounds like should he decide that, the surgery option might actually be a better timeline. So we'll see what that all plays out to be. Who knows? It's too bad.
Yeah, was it kind of deflating just he's been playing so well lately?
I think, you can talk to him about it, but I think ultimately, yeah, sure. But, every year you go through stuff where different things happen and different guys go down. We've already seen some guys, some really good players in this league hurt, and, it's up to everybody else to pick up the slack and do their job. This one doesn't feel near as bad as it did 2 years ago, so he'll be back and just be off for a few weeks or a month or whatever it is.
And again, Coach, we don't know yet what the timetable will be for Gordon's return, but what is this team missing without him as he's returned to the all-star caliber player we had become used to seeing?
And he's been their most efficient offensive player, averaging 20, 56% from the floor, 44% from 3. He's been great, but they will hang in there because they always lean on their defense, and that will stay the same. I expect this team to stay very, very competitive.
What do you think, Caron, about the potential for Jaylen Brown to perhaps step up in his absence?
Well, he's going to have to step up in a major way. Look at Hayward, Walker, and Tatum was forming their own big 3, being efficient, 20-plus for each of those guys. Now Brown has to step up in a major way, but they still have to do it by committee and continue to hang their hat on the defensive end of the floor.
As far as the ceiling goes for this Celtics team, of course, it's difficult to define when you do have an injury to one of the stars. But, Coach, what do you think is a realistic expectation while he's sidelined?
Well, I think they certainly stay over 500 with him out of there and maybe even better. And they're building to something good. Right now, they look like they can compete with everybody in the Eastern Conference. So a little better than we expected. I think better than last year, even though the names on the paper aren't as good.
Clutch, or is it our favorite? These are our favorites, right?
Well, they really are because there's so many great ones. It's hard to say one meant more than anything else. They all meant a lot.
They did.
We're all game winners at the biggest time of the year.
Let's start with you, Caron.
This is my favorite, and I feel like the most clutch moment in sports.
All right.
Done by the GOAT. And certain things happen in your life where you remember exactly where you was at. I was at 1937 Howell Street on the couch watching this moment. Look at a little slight little push, a little nudge. Russell goes, and it's the picture-perfect ending for the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Look at that. Let's look at the moment. I'm feeling it right now, like it just happened all over again.
Yeah. What about you, Coach?
And Brian Russell, your career will never be forgotten. It'll be in that clip.
That's forever. A reminder.
That's exactly right. My favorite one's one of the ones we saw coming in was the Ray Allen shot because I think it was the most shocking one. Because the play wasn't run to get him a shot. It was off an offensive rebound. He had to backpedal to the corner and basically gave them new life. This game was over. San Antonio was ready to hoist the trophy until Chris Bosh got that rebound and threw it out to Ray Allen.
Yeah, they put the rope around the court already.
Yeah, it was done.
And the awareness to get – wow, you're right. I don't think, though, that either. I mean, I could be wrong, but my favorite, and in my humble opinion, the most clutch shot of all time, came in 2016 from Kyrie Irving. I know a couple of fans are out there cheering right now, just thinking about it. Caron, you said you always remember where you were in those moments. I was there. I had been assigned to cover the Cleveland Cavaliers season from start to finish, and I will never ever forget talking to LeBron after game, 1, 2, 3. They were down 3-1. And I must have asked a question in a way that sounded as though the series was about to wrap up. And he said, oh no, we're going to win this championship. And after every single game, as soon as he'd see me, he'd point, and they're really going to do it. And so I think that combined with, of course, the legendary chase down block, that to me, as clutch as it can get from Kyrie Irving.
Crack the code.
Telling you. All right, you guys can join the NBA and celebrate.